Hello. In this video, I'm going to cover an article by John Katzenbach and Douglas Smith. It's called The Discipline of Teams, and it appeared in the Harvard Business Review in 1993 and then again in 2005. This is a great article for students and managers to cut through the generic way in which the term team has been used and understand their impact on strategy making and delivery. Although beware, context does matter. In some situations, a simple working group with no pretense of being a team may be less risky and more effective. Now, Katzenbach and Smith start the article by making the point that the term team has become such a familiar word that it has ended up being too loosely used to describe any group. They contrast teams with other working groups by defining teams as being groups of people where their output and performance comes from both individual and collective work. So the result of joint contributions by two or more people in that group. In contrast, they see a working group as being where the output is a function of only what members do as individuals. So, working groups have a focus on things like sharing of information, perspectives and insights, on making decisions, and on reinforcing performance standards of individuals. They also advise managers not to confuse being a team with teamwork as a set of values. For example, listening and responding constructively to the views of others, or giving others the benefit of doubt, and recognising the interests and achievements of others. These are all good things, even in a loose working group. Teams, they say, are discrete units of performance, not just a set of values that produces discrete work products through the joint contribution of their members. Katzenbach and Smith then explore the key attributes of successful teams. They say that the essence of a team is a common commitment to a purpose, a reason for being, in which the team members have a belief. Successful teams spend a considerable amount of time and effort in shaping and agreeing that purpose, even though the broad charter or performance challenge has already been clearly defined and given to the team. The purpose thus belongs to them individually and collectively as a team, and they are committed to it. By contrast, failed teams rarely develop a common purpose, perhaps due to insufficient focus on performance, lack of effort or poor leadership, and as a result do not coalesce around a challenging aspiration. The best teams also translate their common purpose into specific performance goals. This further defines and shapes the purpose of the team, moving them beyond being a set of individuals. It also facilitates clear communication and allows constructive conflict focused on pursuing or changing the agreed goals, rather than building antagonism and pulling the team apart. Setting attainable goals helps maintain focus. It cuts through hierarchy and also promotes potential for small wins and a sense of accomplishment. So continuing to build commitment by the team members. On the basis of this, the authors define a team as a small number of people with complementary skills who are committed to a common purpose a set of performance goals and an approach for which they hold themselves accountable. Notice in that the word small. It is highly unusual for large groups, say 50, to form into a real team given the logistical and other complex constraints, for example herd behaviour. Typically, engagement will be superficial and people revert to working as individuals. Also note the complementary skills. Teams need the right mix of skills to do their job. While skills will be developed in the teams need the appropriate technical and functional skills, as well as problem solving and decision making abilities. But do beware of too uniform a set of skills. The emphasis here is on complementary skills from across an organisation that match the task in hand. They also suggest, therefore, that selection is a critical task. Team members also need interpersonal skills. A common understanding and purpose cannot arrive without effective communication and constructive conflict and debate. This means skills such as risk-taking, helpful criticism, active listening, and giving the benefit of the doubt are all needed. Having these skills helps in the development of a strong commitment to a common approach, how the team will work together to accomplish its purpose. So agreeing who will do what jobs, what skills need to be developed, how continued membership of the team is earned, and how will the group make and modify decisions. A team that delegates all the real work to a few members or relies on outsiders to do the work will not sustain itself. All members, including the leader, need to be seen to do equivalent amounts of work in delivering the team's purpose. The team succeeds by the mutual discovery of its specific purpose and an agreed common approach. Katzenbach and Smith say that at the heart of what can be a long and at times difficult set of interactions lies a commitment building process in which the team candidly explores who is best for what task and how individual roles will come together. In effect, the team establishes a social contract that guides and obligates how they will work together. No group ever becomes a team until it can hold itself accountable as a team. Such mutual accountability is a stiff test. Many members enter a potential team with ingrained individualism and experience that discourages them from putting their fates in the hands of others or accepting the responsibility for others. Mutual accountability, therefore, cannot be forced. It has to grow from the common purpose, goals and approach that is discovered as the team works. In the rest of the article, Katzenbach and Smith explore the characteristics and challenges faced by three types of teams. Teams that recommend things, teams that make things, and teams that run things. Starting with teams that recommend things, so for example project groups and audit and safety groups, teams that are asked to solve particular problems by predetermined completion dates. The two critical issues for such teams are firstly getting off to a fast and constructive start, and then dealing with the ultimate handoff of the recommendations so they are implemented. The key to the first issue lies in the clarity of the team's charter and the selection of its membership. Handoff, though, is a perennial problem that stymies many such teams. To avoid this, the transfer of responsibility for recommendation demands top management time and is helped by more involvement of those implementing recommendations in their development, perhaps as part of the team or through regular meetings and updates. The second type of team, described by Katzenbach and Smith, are teams that make things, so often near the front line, perhaps responsible for doing the basic manufacturing, sales or servicing. These are teams that are ongoing and so have no set completion date. Here the teams need to be concentrated onto critical delivery points, so places where cost and value of products and services are most directly determined, and where multiple skills, perspectives and judgments are needed in real time. The issue here is that the team's purpose may be lost sight of, and it appears that top management is just promoting teams for their own sake rather than being a real performance need. To avoid this, top management needs to make clear demands on the team and track and challenge performance. The final type of teams that the authors explore are teams that run things. Despite many leaders referring to the group directly reporting to them as a team, few really are. The main issue here is whether the team approach is the right one to choose. Many groups that run things can be more effective as a simple working group rather than as a team as defined by the authors. The key judgment here is whether the sum of individual bests will suffice or whether real joint working is needed to deliver performance enhancements. In this, managers need to be brutally honest in assessing the trade-offs. The price for faking a team is high. Members are diverted from individual goals, costs outweigh benefits, and people will resent the imposition on their time and their priorities. Working groups carry lower risks and less complexity. Little time is taken to shape purpose. The leader sets it. Meetings are run against prioritised agendas, and decisions are implemented through individual assignments and accountabilities. And so the working group approach is often more comfortable, less risky and less disruptive. Then efforts to improve the efficiency of the working group make much more sense, rather than floundering around trying to become a team. However, the authors believe that the extra level performance teams can achieve becomes critical as firms face major change and challenge, where response by individuals is not sufficient. The second issue with teams that run things is that too often members confuse the broad mission of the organisation with the specific purpose of the team. For a real team to perform, there must be a purpose that is distinctive and specific to that small group, and an output to which they all directly contribute. Katzenbach and Smith say that teams at the top of organisations are often the most difficult. The complexity of long-term challenges, executive time constraints, and deep-seated individualism conspires against them. Hence, teams at the top are few and far between, and often smaller, less formalised than the top team as defined by the organisation chart. So, 2s and 3s, sometimes 4 people, a kitchen cabinet, if you like. The authors finish the article by reinforcing their view that faced with change and more challenge, teams have become the primary unit of performance in organisations. But rather than crowding out individual opportunity or formal hierarchy and process, Teams will enhance rather than replace existing structures. This means top management must deploy teams strategically where they are the best tool for the job and recognise when they're not, and create the kind of environment that enables the team to perform. So what do we make of Katzenbach and Smith's article? Well, as well as telling us what it takes for effective teams to perform, it is an interesting reminder that not all tasks necessitate being a team. Context does matter. There are going to be times in strategy making and delivery that necessity or circumstances may mean accepting that a simple working group is more effective, especially at top management levels. However, where uncertainty and complexity exists and where buy-in is essential, say to a new direction or a large investment, teams' ability to deliver more than the sum of the parts will be essential. Here, for strategy making, Katzenbach and Smith's advice on the discipline of teams becomes highly valuable. Thank you.